Let's imagine a secret weapons program, one built just like the Manhattan Project. Not in some hidden desert lab, but in pieces, compartmentalized, with its components hidden in plain sight for decades, in public records and scientific journals. Today, we're going to assemble the blueprint for just such a program, one with a single chilling goal: long-range control over the human mind. We're calling it Project Chimera.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. Can sound really control what you think and do? It sounds like something straight out of science fiction, right? But what if I told you the technology wasn't just possible, but that parts of it have been in development for over 20 years? The first piece of our blueprint takes us all the way back to the turn of the millennium, to an idea that was hiding right under our noses.
And here it is, U.S. patent number 6017302. Now look, this isn't some speculative research paper or a wild theory. This is a real government-approved invention from the year 2000. And what it describes is the very first component of our blueprint, a method for, and I quote, subliminal acoustic manipulation of the human nervous system.
So what's the big idea here? Well, it's actually shockingly direct. The plan is to use sound that you can't even hear to hijack your body's own wiring. The patent says that certain very low frequencies, we're talking around 2.5 hertz, can trigger what it calls sensory resonances. This isn't about persuading someone with words. This is about bypassing their conscious thought entirely and sending commands straight to their nervous system.
And when you look at the patent's own drawings, you see just how crude this early stage was. I mean, the mechanism is basically a souped-up fan controlled by a generator that just pulses air at a target. It's a blunt instrument designed to just blanket an entire area with these silent, inaudible frequencies. It might be effective, but it is not precise. You could call this the sledgehammer phase of our blueprint.
And let's be absolutely crystal clear about what this was for. There's no need to guess. The patent abstract itself calls the invention a non-lethal weapon. The whole stated purpose is to cause weakness, sleepiness, and disorientation. This was never conceived for therapy. From day one, it was designed for control.
So just imagine having a remote control for a person's basic physical state. That's what this patent proved was possible, at least in concept. But to build a true weapon of mind control, you need way more than a sledgehammer that just hits the whole body. You need a scalpel, one that can target a single thought.
So, for almost 2 decades, the blueprint was just incomplete. The fan was too clumsy, way too imprecise. But while that patent was basically gathering dust in the public record, another field of science was quietly forging the missing piece: a scalpel that was sharp enough to target a single cell.
And that scalpel has a name: sonogenetics. This right here is the missing piece of the puzzle. Instead of just bathing a whole person in these low-frequency waves, sonogenetics uses focused ultrasound to talk to individual cells that have been genetically programmed to listen. It's remote, it's non-invasive, and it is unbelievably precise.
I mean, the contrast here says everything. On one hand, the old patent used a giant fan to pulse air at a whole person. On the other hand, sonogenetics uses a focused beam of sound to activate a single neuron deep inside the brain. It's the difference between a floodlight and a laser pointer. And that technological leap is what makes our theoretical Project Chimera a truly terrifying possibility.
So how does this actually work? Well, it's basically a 3-step process. First, you need to install a receiver in the target cell. You can use something like a harmless virus to deliver a special sound-sensitive protein into, say, a specific group of brain cells. Second, you aim a focused ultrasound beam right at that exact spot. And third, the sound waves hit that protein and activate it, which then tells the cell what to do. You've just installed a remote-controlled on switch inside the body. Which brings us right to the core of Project Chimera. How do you combine the weaponized intent of that 2000 patent with the surgical precision of modern sonogenetics? How do you build the ultimate tool for behavioral control?
Well, the blueprint becomes complete when you realize sonogenetics solves every single limitation of that original patent. Where the old weapon was imprecise, like a shotgun blast, the new one can target a single cell, like a sniper rifle. Where the old way was non-specific, this new method only affects targets who have been genetically modified with that receiver. You're upgrading from a crude vibration to this elegant molecular activation deep inside the human body.
And this right here, this is the payload. The scientific papers are full of these incredible, life-saving goals for sonogenetics. But if you look at it all through the dark lens of Project Chimera, every cure becomes a weapon. The ability to help with Parkinson's symptoms, that becomes the power to control a person's motor functions, to make them move or stop at will.
Modulating the brain's reward circuits to treat addiction, that becomes the power to create intense aversion or uncontrollable desire for anything. Restoring vision becomes controlling what a person sees. You're no longer just making someone dizzy, you're puppeteering their very biology.
And if you're sitting there thinking, okay, this is scary, but it's gotta be decades away, you need to look at this timeline. The pace of progress here is just staggering. The core ideas were being explored back in the late 90s. The field officially got its name in 2015. And in just the last couple of years, we've seen successful, high-precision uses in mice for everything from vision to motor control. The technology is maturing, and believe me, it is maturing fast.
So this is the crucial point, right? This technology lives on a knife's edge. Every incredible promise it has for healing carries this dark shadow, an equally powerful potential for control. The exact same tool that could non-invasively cure Parkinson's could also be used to induce it. The same beam of sound that could treat depression could also be used to weaponize it. This is the absolute definition of a dual-use dilemma.
So when the blueprints are hiding in plain sight and the tools can be used to either heal or harm with the exact same precision, it leaves us with one final, deeply unsettling question. The technology to install a remote-controlled switch into the human brain is here. So, who do you trust to hold it?